Hey folks, in today's episode, our special guest, Mike Wilson, we're going to talk about Blitz Bowl Season 2.
You're listening to the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, thanks for sticking around. My name's Carlos Cabrera, and I'm joined today by our special guest, Mike Wilson.
What's up, folks?
And as always, the rice to my bean on the phone.
Hey, this is Rob coming to you over the phone.
in our distance location. So thank you, Rob, for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Tonight, what we're going to do is introduce you to Mike Wilson, someone that I've been gaming with from the beginning, beginning of my gaming career.
We were like 3.
I know. It was probably true. And then we'll talk about the game we just played, Blitz Bowl Season 2. So let's get it started. Hi, Mike. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining us for the first time.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like to start things off nice and light, fresh conversation with things that we've played lately. So anything of note that we've played lately, any geek, and if you haven't played anything, any geeky goodness that you've done lately that it's in the geek realm. I'll kick us off with some gaming. I think for me, it's going to be Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. Robert and I did.
Yep.
At your turn, just a few turns of it, right?
Yeah. At your turn, Board Game Cafe in was that Wesley Chapel, Pepper Hills, and we were up there the other night, and I know you wanted to learn the rules and just kind of get it down so that when you were able to bring it out for a full game night, you'd be versed in it. So I think we played, was it 2 or 3 rounds, maybe 2 rounds?
I think more, like 3 to 4. I felt, but I felt like I really had the grasp of the game after we did that.
Yeah. It seems like I think the whole game is either 7 or 8 rounds, and you're kind of just doing the same thing over and over, with some variations on a theme. But playing, I think it might have been 3 rounds that we played gave us a pretty good idea of how the game works, and so just being able to carry that forward to the rest of the game. Like I say, when you are able to pull it out and get a full game going, we'll know what's going on. So that's good.
It's a nice light worker placement game. Beautiful components. Yep. Tiny dinosaurs. Like I was worried that I was going to break the little wood pieces because they're so
wooden
tiny.
Dinosaurs. Yeah.
Looking around for it
cool.
so I can show it to Mike, but it very tiny dinosaurs.
I believe you. It's pretty tiny.
Well, the name is Tiny Epic.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep. And you had the nice little expansion game mat, so that made it nice.
Yeah, the neoprene mat gave us a place to put everything, told us what pieces go where, what the player board pieces go. It made it easy to set up the game and play the game. What have you played, Rob?
Yep.
Something notable.
I haven't played a whole lot. To be honest,
just start with one. We'll go round robin. Just pick one.
Yeah. I know. Also, at your turn, I brought my daughter Emmy up there, 15-year-old, and we played Crokinole for a good, probably close to an hour that night. Me and her, and then the owner of the shop of your turn, Dan. We kind of, between the 3 of us, we had the one that was out play the winner each round, and we played that for about an hour. So that's always a good one. He's got the new those new boards. I know you've got them on order, but he's already got his in. What was the company that did those on the Kickstarter?
Those are the Mayfair Games ones, or Mayday.
Mayfair,
Mayday.
Or
Games.
Mayday. Yep. That's
and
right.
It's not their first time doing this Kickstarter where they do the Crokinole board. And Mike, I think you remember the Crokinole board, the big flicky disc thing.
Oh, yeah. Pretty fun.
Well, they did a Kickstarter, so like $99, you get a beautiful version of that. So
they were nice.
Ordering 2.
What's the normal cost for the basic board?
The board itself, like on a regular day, you're looking at $300.
Wow.
So under the Kickstarter, you're at, it was like $100 a head.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they were nice. I mean, there was a lighter colored wood and then a darker colored, and
the rose.
I think there's a laminate on them. Yeah, so they're not completely hardwood, which for $99, I guess you would kind of expect that. But they look really nice. I mean, the laminate or whatever they used on there was really nice.
I do believe it is laminate, but it's still just a better setup than what I had before. My first board was an introductory board.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad I got to get that one to the table and see that one played.
Yeah, we got to play that. Like I said, me and my daughter played a couple rounds, and then Dan jumped in, and we had kind of a little mini tournament there for about an hour. So that was a lot of fun. I think Dan and I won about 2 each going down the stretch. Emmy hadn't played as much Crokinole as the other 2 of us, so she was still learning some of the rules and stuff. But so
you're telling me if I play Emmy in Crokinole, I might be able to beat her in a game?
You got a chance.
She's still going to murder you.
Seriously, Mike, you don't get it. This Emmy comes in and will destroy all of us in any game. Just flat
she
out.
wins just about everything we play. Yeah, she wins almost everything. So,
the last time she walked in the house, I took a pack of matches, threw them on the floor to see if she would count them like Rain Man.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
248.
Yeah. Yeah, she's from everything from medium weight Euros to just about anything we play. Epic Dinosaurs, she was doing pretty well in that. So, yeah.
I think the best part for me is your family, Robert, is so competitive. So competitive, Rob. Watching her beat any one of you is just a joy for me. Because
so are you saying it's like master skill? It isn't just like pure, adolescent luck?
No, it's like master skill. Like, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is it's fun watching Rob lose to his daughter, and it's even more fun watching RB lose to his sister.
Oh, yeah. That's the best. Yeah, but I think that people like to encourage that. So I know when she likes to pick on us, and then when we're playing with other people and she starts picking on us, everybody else thinks it's funny, and they jump in. So,
what geeky stuff have you done, Mike?
So actually, I'm like more geeky than you guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Explain.
It's unbelievable.
I'm sorry. Elaborate.
It's unbelievable how geeky I am. So you guys might have heard of this game. It's called Dominant Species. It's a Chad Jensen game. It's an amazing game. It's underneath Carlos's table.
I see him looking down, and I'm laughing.
I just read it.
It's like the movie The Usual Suspects, where he gives you a story, but all he's doing is like looking around at different items in the room to make stuff up
as I go. I'm making up as I go. No, honestly, after my long day of work, I usually like to relax, and I'm trying to get more in touch with Michael, my son. So we're playing little games on the Xbox. I got into a couple of other games, but not the elaborate board games you guys have. Among Us, you may have heard it. It's getting pretty popular. It's actually a pretty awesome game.
Is it really? Yeah. Is it the one with the little cartoony guys, and I see all the memes everywhere?
You have to figure out who the saboteur is in a spacecraft. It's actually pretty cool.
Wait a minute. It's a social deduction game?
Yes.
All three of my kids are
playing
playing
online.
Yeah.
Oh, really, Rob?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's a social media kind of thing. It's becoming a trend.
Okay. I keep seeing the memes everywhere.
Yeah, it's super funny. So I've been playing that a little bit. Download a couple other games, just kind of, pass the time. One of them is Bullet Echo. That's another social media type of game where you basically run around third person, shooting everyone, and they all have like different stats: sniper rifles, submachine guns. It's actually pretty fun.
Like a third person shooter. It's
addicting, yeah. Like a third person shooter, just kind of pretty fun. And then Michael is really into cars, so he had me download Car X Drift Racing 2. Basically, you're learning how to drift a car.
Learning. Awesome. We can use those words.
Learning how to drift a car, yeah.
The mechanics of it.
It's less expensive than actually learning to drift a car in real life, as Carlos and I have stories about.
And my oldest having his third accident this last, couple weeks.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Drifting cars is expensive.
So good times with that. But not a whole lot. You're the one with the massive wall of games. So I haven't.
I don't know. I think one of the big things was my Blitz Bowl tournament that I did. That's another thing that I played. So we'll talk more about that when we get to the Blitz Bowl segment of the show. We've gotten a lot of videos on tape. So I know William and I have gotten to play Samurai Battles. We're putting that one on tape for Friday Night Fights. It's coming up.
That does look pretty interesting.
Hey, it's Samurai Warrior Honor, Dishonor, Seppuku.
All about that.
You all about that samurai life?
All about it.
We played Sekigahara on video. So I've been getting a lot of games on video in, which has been nice. But games just for fun, I really haven't.
You're making it a business. All about the business.
Got to create that content.
That's right.
All right, Rob, got any other geeky goodness?
The only other thing I've played recently is the other night at your turn, I also got to play, Dan taught us, me and my daughter and one other person who was there at the cafe, learned Copenhagen, the roll and write version. Copenhagen is a full-size standalone game that came out, I believe it was maybe a year and a half ago at Essen. It's been about a year ago, I guess, because Essen's coming up this month. So I think it was last year at Essen it came out. The roll and write version just came out, I think, maybe a month or two ago, so it's pretty new. And I've never played the full Copenhagen. I've seen some playthroughs and stuff online about it, and I've been a little interested in it. It's kind of a lighter tile placing pattern type game. But we played the roll and write. Dan had played it a handful of times, so he was able to teach it to us pretty quickly, and it was fun. As far as roll and writes go, there's so many roll and writes out now that a lot of them kind of blend into each other if you played more than 3 or 4 of them. So there was nothing in there that was truly too unique. It's a lot of rolling dice, picking some colors. You get some abilities. You can store some things up for some one-time abilities, but you're kind of laying in, drawing in tiles on a grid, kind of a Tetris type situation, polyominoes that you're
okay. So there's tile
in.
placement in there. I was wondering how did they combine a roll and write with kind of the tile placement flavor of the original Copenhagen?
Right, you're drawing in shapes, so there's shapes either 2, 3, 4, or 5 blocks large, and so as you're rolling the dice, you're trying to kind of like Yahtzee on the colors. So if you roll, you get a couple of re-rolls, and if you can re-roll and get like 4 blues, then you can choose one of the 4 size shapes. If you can get all 5 blues, you can choose the 1-5 shape and then fit it into your little grid there, and you're trying to fill up the grid and fill up rows and columns to get bonus points. And it was a fun little game. It was quick. We played it probably about 30 minutes, and that was learning the game. It was 4 of us playing, but it went pretty quick, and it was a neat game, one I would consider picking up. So.
Well, that's a tough thing, though, because there's so many roll and writes have come out in this last quarter that I can think of. I mean, like, it needs to stand out, like Silver and Gold. That stood out. Yeah. Like, that's making my list. It didn't sound like you were very excited about Copenhagen.
Yeah, it was another roll and write. Like I said, I mean, it was I'd say it's in the better half of the roll and writes, but it is just another roll and write. So I mean, there was nothing in it that really stood out about it. So, but
I'll stay away.
It passes 30 minutes.
I'll stay away.
Yeah, it's nothing to run out and purchase necessarily.
All right, what about geeky adjacent, Mike? Anything geeky adjacent? TV shows, movies that you've enjoyed in the last couple weeks that you can think of?
No, I'm usually busy. You know what I have in my house, computer system. So I'm not more of a board game person. I'm more of like a video game person. So,
and I've been joining that. My geeky adjacent was the pickup of, thanks to Michael Lorenzo, the pickup of the Oculus. What is it? Rift. Oculus.
So he got you into it,
and that's interesting. That whole VR world is
amazing, man. Like, I love it. I got the Valve Index, and
I can just see how people get lost in there. I think of the geeky book, and followed by the geeky movie, Start Player One.
Ready Player One?
Oh, Ready Player One.
Yeah.
The book itself, and I read, and then I watched the movie, and now I can see how people can choose to live their whole life in this little VR world. I watch my kids play in a thing called Rec Room. So it's like, Robert, it's like you start off in your own little dorm room with your stuff. You change your clothes, pick your basketball up, and then you go out into a rec area, and you can communicate, chat with people, play different games, all in this VR world, and you start to kind of believe you're there.
It's a big old sandbox. You can pretty much do anything you want, and they can actually create their own types of games. So
it's a little scary.
It can take up hours of your time, depending on what you want to do. But what I've done is, what really gets me is Star Citizen. So you probably haven't heard of it, but it's basically...
Is it a VR game or PC?
It's a PC game.
PC, so not VR.
So it's not yet. They are working on a VR, but if you haven't heard of it...
I think I got that award like in kindergarten. Star Citizen? Right?
No.
Yeah, Star Citizen?
It is raised over like $300 million in its game development.
Damn.
It's
I'm in the wrong business.
Think of a sandbox, just like in a rec room, but it's relatively realistic space sim. So you can do anything from flying your ships, landing on planets.
Is it like a pick up and deliver game like the last one you were playing, where you were like picking up coffee beans and dropping them off at a different planet?
No, that's Eve. I got out of that. That took up way too much time. But yeah, Star Citizen is kind of, you can do pretty much anything you want. It's still in development. It's been in development since like 2012 or something like that. It is a game that
sounds
it will
like a
never.
Kickstarter.
It started off as a Kickstarter. Yeah, it will never be completed. It's always in some sort of
like Roblox.
Flux.
It's always iterating.
Yep. But I enjoy it because it's so, to me, realistic, and people have spent thousands of dollars of real money.
We're not going to say here on air where people can hear how much you've spent. I'm not going to ask.
Not going to tell. But quite a bit. But always, it's super fun. VR, with Alex, that was pretty fun. But when it comes to race car sims, because we're all into that, going going to IMSA and checking those things out. It's really fun.
That's part of what I'm excited about is on our next trip, which is coming up in like 8 days. Mike and I are taking our boys to Georgia, Rob, to go watch more racing. But this time we're taking with us the Dungeons and Dragons Essentials kit. So I'm reading the adventure for that. We're going to create our characters while we're driving.
I can't wait to ruin the entire story.
You are the meme of how the D&D, the Dungeon Master can set up and put all of that energy into setting up a wonderful adventure, and then you just want to go off the rails.
Yo, where the
I have the D&D starter kit, right?
I throw my mixtape in my CD player.
What was that? Key and Peele?
Yeah, Key and Peele. I'm a giant, yo.
Yeah, I gotta stop. That was a great skit. So I have the D&D Essential Starter, or the starter set. The starter set comes with an adventure, Rob, but the adventure is very much on rails. It is this, and then this next. And I just know that wouldn't work with Mike. It just doesn't work. So I picked up, or my wife picked up today, she picked up for me the D&D's Essentials, $15 at Target. This one comes with the rulebook for Dungeons and Dragons and of an adventure set, but it's more of a sandbox setup. So Mike can have the opportunity to say, I want to go to that town or that building at any time. It doesn't have to be on rails.
I'm going to go steal a TV.
Sure.
Oh, my God. When you say that, it hurts my heart.
If you haven't watched the Key and Peele videos, watch the Key and Peele Dungeons and Dragons edition.
That's what it's like playing with Mike.
You'll get what I'm talking about. That's the fun part about it.
Mike and I grew up, in Tampa, in apartments here in Tampa, very low income, very different.
Not that low, bro. Couple bucks.
So that Key and Peele video, if you find it, you'll see it. It reminds me of what it was like for me to try to play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends.
I wasn't that bad, was I?
No,
not that bad.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to take us to our next segment. So in this segment, what we're going to do is, with Mike, I've got this deck of cards that I picked up, and it's called Pod Decks. It's for interviews. So I'm going to shuffle this thing up. I'll pull out one of these cards, Mike. I'm going to ask you that question just to kind of let the audience get to know you a little better.
Be prepared.
I'm worried. I got the censor button ready to go.
I'm only here not to get fined, so.
That's Kyle Busch. Isn't that Kyle Busch, Rob?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm only here not to get fined.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, we're shuffling up, and we're going to flip the first card, and it is...
color blue.
Mike, what do you value most in your friends?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, what I value in my friends is just the ability to talk occasionally, hang out. I'm an active person, so I typically want to go outside, do something like the whole IMSA thing. I really enjoy that because we get to go hang out, get some experiences. But in this day and age, we're in quarantine, so we got to make friends somehow. So trying to adapt a bit.
It is different.
Yeah, but honestly, just values, just, the typical thing, trustworthy, whatever. But for now, I have my very close-knit of friends, very limited number.
We should each have our bubble.
Yeah. So just enjoying them, spending time.
Well, thank you for sharing. Appreciate. You know what, Rob? I'm gonna flip one for you, Rob. Let the audience get to know you a little better.
Oh yeah, good luck.
There you go. It's a long one. Okay, Rob. If you had to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone, which ones would you keep?
What's a smartphone?
This would be a question for Carlos.
It would be a bad question if you asked me.
All of them. All but 3.
You're only allowed to have 3. Otherwise, the phone will explode.
Gosh.
Is it a Samsung? It's going to explode?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think Instant Messenger. I mean, that's just the way we have been keeping up with our game group, and that's where we have a lot of interesting conversations on IM Chat.
AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, there you go. AOL Instant Messenger. Yeah,
you've got mail.
Yeah, no, on Skype or whatever we're using, but that's got to be one of them because that's again, that's like I said, that's the way we're keeping in touch with a lot of people. So especially with the quarantine and stuff now. we've had some pretty crazy conversations on there recently. I won't get into any
what
details.
happens in the chat room stays in the chat room.
Stays in the chat room, yeah.
So
I would have
cliche.
to definitely agree with that. Yeah. Number 2 right now, I think, would be the Imperial Settlers Roll and Write.
Really?
Yeah. I just, anytime I've got to kill, 5, 10, 15 minutes.
The digital version?
Yeah, the digital version. I think it's completely replaced the physical version for me, rolling the dice and all that kind of stuff.
Whoa.
And it keeps track of all your resources and all your rolls and everything on there, and so it's so much easier to use than the pencil and the paper and having to pull out the game. But like I said, obviously I can take it anywhere. It's pausable. I can quit at any point and just suspend it and then pick it up next time I play.
That's nice.
And,
That sounds so much better.
Oh yeah, it is so much easier.
I just picked
and
up
they've
the
got
physical version.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I think I remember you
Physically?
posting something about that.
Physically.
Oh.
Physically, the physical version.
You got 2 apps. You got 2 apps. What's the third one you're going to keep?
Yeah, third app. That's going to be tough. Only one more app.
Grindr.
I'm going to have to say, yeah, there you go.
Grindr. You got to keep that one.
Oh, it's got to be a sports app,
No,
I think.
not Grindr?
Yeah.
Okay, no, fine.
Not going to do it? No, not going to do it.
Swipe left. Good.
Yeah. Got to be a sports app, I think. So I got to keep that part alive. So CBS Sports is the main one I use to keep up with all the sports and stuff that's going on. And actually, right now,
Let's go Rays.
Tampa, what a time, to be a sports fan. We just won. Although I'm not, they're not my number one teams because I'm a transplant. So I've got other teams that I cheer for number one, but I support the locals as my backups, as my number 2s. And so the Lightning just winning the Stanley Cup here, and then the Rays beat the Yankees tonight, and they go up 2-1 in the best of 5 championship series. Or not the championship, the division series, but they go on to the championship and then potentially the World Series, and then. You've got Tom Brady coming into the Bucks and taking over, and they now are 3-1 with another winnable game. Actually, tomorrow night they play Thursday night football.
Seriously,
tomorrow night.
man, that game this last week with Brady, where he was down and throwing pick sixes, and I turned it off. I turned on NASCAR. I was done.
Yeah, no, he came back 5 touchdowns in the game, even though he did have the pick 6, but came back, brought him back to a fourth quarter win. So, people are jumping on the Tom Brady train here in Tampa, and there's some talk now that all 3 of them could go to championships this year. It'd be crazy. Play for the Super Bowl, play for the World Series, and then they already won the Stanley Cup. So that would be definitely a first in the history of sports to have all 3 major sports.
Speaking of geeky and all, if you go online and you check out what's happening after the Lightning one, and you
really?
some videos, there's a guy on the water on an e-foil holding an inflatable trophy. His name's Tyler Clark. He's one of my friends. He's a part of the electric skateboarding group. So,
That's how we're celebrating in Tampa. We're riding electric vehicles over the water.
You can't get more geeky than that. Yeah, check him out. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, I'll have to look into that.
So 3 apps for Rob. He's going to keep his CBS Sports. He's going to keep his Instagram. What was it? IM Messenger, and then Roll and Write.
Yeah,
and Grindr.
Yep. Imperial Settlers. Yep. And Grindr.
All right, I'm gonna give this a try. I'm gonna flip a card for me. It's my first time using this deck. I'm gonna answer this question. You want to read it to me, Michael?
I'm gonna read it.
All right, Mike's gonna read it to me.
Okay.
In English.
No, for real. Okay. What is something you like that most people don't?
No, Blood Bowl.
You don't like that?
Okay.
Am I wrong, Robert? Am I wrong?
Oh, no, I'm definitely on the other side of the fence on that one. So
I gotta say, I have struggled with evangelizing the game of Blood Bowl. Like every person that I thought would love it and would hit off of it, they've struggled to enjoy it. There's so much risk management and punishment in that game that I just can't seem to get people to dig it. Now, this is Blitz Bowl that Mike and I played too. Is Blitz Bowl. Blood Bowl is the big 3-hour version. It's like you build a team, you manage it for a league and a season.
I couldn't do that.
It's cool because you're like managing a team. They're getting injuries. You're buying new players to replace them. You're upskilling them like Dungeons and Dragons. So they're getting new skills. They're getting new abilities.
Still ain't getting me.
But then they like die, right? So that hurts. Like when one of your best players ends up getting a death result because you rolled 2 6s.
Yeah.
Wow. You're not going to the dugout. You're actually
dead.
dying.
Like you're playing like a 12-game season.
Wow.
And you put all this money in this guy and skill points and level them up, and then some troll comes in and just whops him. You fail the injury roll. You send him to the dugout. You roll his injury, and it comes up as death.
Heart attack.
And you got exciting 2 to 3 hour games that what final score could be like, what, 3-1,
1-2,
2-2. Yeah.
Dude.
I think I tied in 3 or 4 of my games in my first league, ended in ties. I had the most ties that season of any other player. It was my first season playing. It was
Not
the
for me.
Dwarves.
I'm glad Blitz Bowl wasn't that long.
No, Blitz Bowl was not that long. But yes, that's what I like. That I feel most people that I know don't.
I'm kind of feeling that card was a setup for a segue here.
It was not, but it was it was fully shuffled and drawn, but it worked out great. So, and now we're going to segue into the game discussion of the podcast, where we're going to talk about my new shiny
Wii game,
Blitz Bowl.
You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
All right, folks, we're back to the main segment of the show, our conversation on the new release from Games Workshop called Blitz Bowl. Blitz Bowl is, I'm going to read off the back of the box here. It's the game of gladiatorial sports mayhem. Welcome, sports fans. Blitz Bowl is a fast-paced sports game that pits 2 teams against each other in a battle to achieve touchdowns, complete challenges, and score the most points. In today's matchups, the Marauders take on the Dwarf Giants. Who will be victorious? Let's find out. So Blitz Bowl is a 2-player game, and it plays in about 30 minutes. For the box says ages 12 and up, but I'm pretty sure a 9-year-old can pick up the rules after a game or so with a little bit of help. It's an exclusive game to Barnes & Noble. That was weird.
Really? Wow.
It's only can be purchased at Barnes & Noble. Games Workshop is a company that makes it.
Monopoly.
Same company that makes games like 40K, games like Warhammer Quest. Remember that back in the day, Mike? The same company that makes that makes this game, but they're only exclusively providing it through Barnes & Noble with the purpose of trying to get people interested into Blood Bowl, the big version of this.
I see.
So if you play this, you like the teams, and you like painting models, then you find out, and what they do is they provide for you all the other teams that are made, like the Lizardmen, the Skaven, which are Ratmen, and they give you all those cards, but you have to go to a real game shop to buy the models.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it might get you in the shop and get you in the door for...
I was going to say that's a good Christmas present.
Message. So what I did this week was host a tournament at Your Turn. So we did a tournament. 4 people ended up playing. David Carlton, Rob, and Jim were there that I can remember, and we had a good time. We played, I think it was 3 rounds of Blitz Bowl, and we had a blast. It's a good little sports game. Plays more like a board game than Blood Bowl does. It's definitely not as punishing as Blood Bowl. It's a lot lighter. The idea behind the game is that Blood Bowl is the major leagues. This is the minor leagues. So in the minors, these players are here to show off skills. So the way you score points in a game is by meeting a challenge that a coach throws out there. You might have different cards, such as score a touchdown or break some bones.
This is the important part. Listen up.
Yeah, this is where the points come from. Breaking the bones, freeing up the ball, running down the field.
So you're saying you have to free ball?
Yes.
Okay.
Commando.
The ball.
So, and that's how you score the majority of your points. Not really by touchdowns, just by doing these challenges. So it adds that board game piece to it, where it's not just the sports side. You're doing different actions that will elicit you to take different risks because you're going to score some actions. So it isn't just about moving the ball forward. It really makes it feel more like a board game. So Mike and I played today. So it's Mike's first game.
Very
I got to
well,
teach him.
I might add.
I don't know. I think I ended up with 16 to your 9.
Let's not talk about that.
I'll remember it forever. Today I played the humans,
and I played the elves.
I think that was your first problem. As much as you love elves, it's like the first team that you saw.
So, not necessarily my problems. I was playing the elves as orcs, and that's definitely not the way to go.
No.
Elves are a little more eloquent. They throw the ball.
They should.
And I'm chucking over here trying to tackle everybody and break some bones.
Literally, what he's doing is he's picking up the ball, then he's trying to find me and tackle me, and it's just not going to work for him.
Yeah, I learned my lesson.
But I
Not a
guess
plan for success.
that's definitely one of the benefits or the pluses of this game is the amount of teams and then the variation within the teams. You know, I can count a dozen teams in this box set that you get the cards for, and they all play so very differently. Your orcs are big, brutish, they hurt stuff. That's what they do.
They hurt elves because
They
the elves
like
have
that.
glass jaws. Literally glass jaws.
The dwarves, they can't move. They only move like 4 spaces a turn, but they are stalwart. They have high armor. You can knock them down, but you're not going to knock them off the pitch. They're gonna survive those armor rolls. Your elves, they can run and throw the ball. They throw the ball better than any other team. So you can see some movement. If you set it up right, you can create this daisy chain of players and within one turn, score the ball. And so many different teams. It's just an example. I mean, there's the Skaven, there's the Lizardmen, there's the Undead.
Don't forget to talk about the actual footballs.
Oh, yeah.
That surprised me.
Season 2, Rob, comes out with these cards called ball cards. So whenever you bring your team to the pitch, you're going to bring your own footballs.
Bring your balls.
Bring your balls and make sure they're good and inflated well.
Yeah.
Can't have that deflated
Tom Brady.
balls in that cold temperature.
Yep. No Tom Brady here.
So he comes with just 2 balls. So just make sure.
Yep, you get 2 balls per team.
Just 2 balls.
Bring them both, and then when a ball comes into play, you shuffle the deck. So the opponent, Mike, brings his 2 balls. I'll bring my 2 balls. We put them into a deck. We shuffle them.
They don't touch though.
I can't.
No?
even.
Just keep it real.
And then when a ball comes into play, you flip a ball from the deck, and that ball will have the special ability of your team ball. For example, the human ball is the extra spiky ball. Whenever someone receives the extra spiky ball, you roll a d6. So when the catcher receives it, rolls a d6 on a 1, they have to take an armor check because the spikes might have hit them. So it reduces the amount of throwing of the ball going on for your opponent, which is good for the humans because they're not really a throwing team per se. But then the elves, for example, they bring in their ball, and it's called the Soulstone ball, and it says that whoever's in possession, the player in possession of this ball, if they're going to be blocked, the target of a block, roll a d6, and on a 6, that player can make a sidestep action to
After
get away
snapping
from the
their
block.
fingers. Snap
Elves
once.
snap. Is that what they do?
Yeah, they do that.
They're magic. They snap 3 snaps in a circle.
And they get
That's
the
what I see them
sidestep.
do. It. 3 snaps in a circle. So the elves have their, but you can see that the flavor in each of these different balls. I think the orcs have a ball called I think it's shoddy ball or shoddily made
Almost
ball.
like a heavy ball or something.
No, it's like shoddy. It's made out of like a bad leather. And
Think
whenever
ball?
you throw a long toss with that ball, you roll a d6, and on a 1, the ball disintegrates and disappears and it's taken off the pitch.
Bro, that's against the elves again too.
Right, it prevents them from throwing. So you see how each team gets this ball that helps them do something, or stops the other team from doing something to help them win. That's nice flavor.
Basically jumping the elves. Since they're like the best throwers.
There's like 3.
This game
There's
is
4
rigged.
elf teams.
this is rigged against elves, bro.
There's elves.
Yeah. Wow. Sounds like it.
There's elves. There's wood elves. Then you've got
Dark
your dark elves. That's 3 elves that I can think of.
Oh really? Okay, I didn't
So
know
there's
that.
3 different elf teams out here.
Okay.
So if you want to try a dark elf, they got witches.
What are these elves?
Those are just the regular elves. They're like your generic
Basic.
vanilla ice cream basic elves.
Basic
Like,
elves.
yep, your pumpkin spice latte elves.
That's right.
Forest dwellers. Mm.
So that's the game itself. It plays in 30 minutes. It's fast, it's light, it's fun. I'm looking forward to getting more of this played right now because in the Blood Bowl world, for y'all that don't know, Blood Bowl leaked. So some Chinese printer leaked out the rule book for a new version of Blood Bowl that wasn't supposed to be leaked.
Oh wow.
So now we know we're getting a new version of Blood Bowl. So I've kind of taken away my energy from this Blood Bowl game because of knowing that there's a new version coming out with completely different changes. I'm looking more forward to that than I am looking backwards to the old 2016 version.
Imagine how much money is being lost because of that. That's
Well,
crazy.
I didn't buy, I'm not buying any of the rule books that are coming out or any of the, I'm only buying new models. I'm only buying things that I can use in the new version. Any cards that are for the old version, I'm not buying them.
When's the release date? Do you know?
They haven't answered. As soon as it leaked, it was like a week later, Games Workshop acknowledged that yes, we are making a new one.
Oh wow.
And they pretended like they were releasing it, that information, but they had to. I think they were forced in a corner to do that. But this game here was going to take up that time frame between what ended for me 2016 Blood Bowl, while I wait for end of this quarter, end of this year, before Christmas, new Blood Bowl. Rob, you've played this before.
Yeah. And you mentioned Rob that you played with at the shop. That was a different Rob. It was I think a new guy that
much nicer Rob.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. But so that wasn't me. So yeah, I played. You introduced me to it. I want to say it's probably been about 2, maybe even 3 years ago now.
It's a 2014 game. Yeah, I bought this game in 2014.
So yeah, that's a little ways back. So yeah, maybe a little more than when we played it. But we had kind of messed around with the full Blood Bowl, and we had played a few turns of that. Just kind of you teaching me some of the rules on that, and then Blitz Bowl, you were like, well, I wasn't down with Blood Bowl. It was just too much go. So you introduced me to Blitz Bowl, thinking that it was a little quicker, a little higher scoring, a little more fun. And I definitely liked Blitz Bowl more than I liked Blood Bowl. Again, it has been a few years since I played. So
I'm sorry, 2018.
2018. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's probably about right then. So yeah, so it's probably been about 2 years ago. That's probably about right. So yeah, we must have played right after it came out. But,
yeah, because in 2018 we played Blood Bowl in Atlanta.
Yep.
At Dragon Con.
Yep, I think so. That's where you introduced me to that, and
saw your eyes glaze over.
Yeah, I was exactly. My eyes kind of glazed over after a couple of rounds, and I was like, "Really, is this it?" I mean, to me, it was. Yeah, and again, that's a more in-depth version of the game, but it was all about blocking, knocking people down. You take a turn to stand back up, you get knocked back down. You take a turn to stand back up. We had played an hour into that, and it was like nothing was happening. The ball had moved a couple of squares, and
that was very frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. So that was definitely not my cup of tea. So again, then you shortly after that, you introduced me to Blitz Bowl. I remember we played. It was here locally in Tampa. We played. I can't remember what it was. One of the game shops, and you set it up. You taught me how to play. We played a full round of it. It was definitely it was more enjoyable to me than Blood Bowl because of the higher scoring, because of the smaller pitch, less players to worry about, more back and forth. I think we both scored probably several times. Being able to score off those cards was a lot more interesting, kept things moving along. It was a much shorter game. I think played in an hour or less. So
30, 40 minutes tops.
Yeah, probably. There you go. So yeah, it was definitely more enjoyable. It's still not completely up my alley, still a minis game, and but I do like the fact that it's on a field with squares and with known parameters. As you know, I'm not into rulers and protractors and compasses and those mini games,
laser pointers.
Right, exactly. So that was definitely more up my alley. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying the new version. So I watched a little bit of y'all playing the other night. Again, I was up there and was keeping my daughter entertained with some other games while y'all were playing the tournament. But it definitely looked like it was looked more fun. So something I want to try.
Right, and this is season 2, right? Season 1 was the one that we played. Season 2 fixed some of the stuff that season 1 didn't do well. So, for example, season 2 has this new rule called get on with it. I think it's what's called.
Get on with it.
And if you're in possession of the ball and you're just holding it, right, trying to just hold the ball and slow the game down, a new ball pops out. So it allows the player on the other opposing side to just go ahead and pick that ball and go score. To get on with it. Yeah, that's a fix. That's a huge fix. Because if I was a team of orcs and Mike was a team of elves, and all I did was hold the ball because I had a 4-point lead, there's no way he's breaking through my orcs to get to the ball.
If only intelligence rolls can be on here.
No, we don't do intelligence.
Roll for intelligence.
We have too many.
Look, another football.
And then
I know that.
Go ahead, Rob.
So that keeps the game moving because the timer for the game is actually the deck of cards, and so you're trying to complete objectives based on that deck, which are things like either scoring the ball or knocking the ball free or different things. But if you end up with 2 or 3 balls on the pitch, if the game's moving slow and you're forced to bring out these extra balls, then it gives people more opportunities to go through that deck of objective cards. And the game ends once the deck is where, I guess it's where you can't draw a replacement card in the row. Is that right?
And we all get one more turn each.
Right. So that kind of helps keep things moving. If somebody's, like you say, is slow playing or is trying to sit back and protect the ball or something, protect the lead, that could kind of slow the game down. But by introducing that mechanic and putting more balls on the field, it had more opportunity to score, more opportunity to go through that deck and bring it into the game. So I kind of like that idea.
There's even cards that you can add on there. I had to use one because it says level the field. And I think was this prior to the card that stops everything.
So now they have these cards called endgame cards. There's 6 of them that you put in the deck, and at they're the bottom of the deck, the last 6 cards, and these provide almost a catch-up mechanism for the losing player.
If you suck at the game.
Gives you a chance. But it also puts pressure on the winning player. So the way it works, Rob, is you got your 24 standard challenge cards that you just described, right? The awesome 24. And I love that mechanic of 24 challenge cards that every turn some are going to get discarded. It's your clock. Like you can see that dwindling. It's like watching a sports clock. I love the feel of that. But if I do not beat you, and the way to beat you in this game is to score 10 more points than you at any point in the game, immediately ends the game. It's like a mercy rule called sudden death.
Yeah. Sure.
If I cannot do that in those first 24 cards, if we get to the end game card, the sudden death rule is gone. That means we have to finish out the last 6 cards. And those 6 cards are called end game challenges. They do things that help the losing team catch up. So it really adds like a bit of excitement at the end. For example, here's a card, Rob, for Endgame Challenge, face up, called Level the Field. And it says, claim this card if your score is lower than the other coach's score. 0 points. But on the back of every challenge card are those bonus plays that give you extra little tiddly bits that you can do in a game. Right? So now...
Tiddly bits.
We're talking about a lot of balls. This one's called... And speaking of that, this one's called Leg Up. And
oh my God. That couldn't be any better.
In Leg Up, it says place this in front of you, and every time you score any points, you get an extra point until you are tied with the winning player.
Yeah.
So you see these 6 cards. There's I think 16 of these different cards, but you only pick 6 each game, so they're going to be different every game. And they're going to do things that help the losing player get a chance to kind of really catch the game up. And so I guess some people would say that's not fair. I've been winning the whole game. Now this guy gets a catch-up mechanic. The way I see it is that if you can't get your 10 over in 24 cards, that's on you. You need to play better.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Don't let it get to the end game.
Exactly.
Don't let Brady, don't be Atlanta Falcons and let Brady get to the second half, down by like 40 points, because he's still going to come back and beat you.
You got to play smart, not hard.
I'm excited about more Blitz Bowl. That's what I'm hoping to share with y'all today on this podcast is Blitz Bowl Season 2. Check it out at your local Barnes & Noble or online, and check out your local game shop. All those cards that come in there for all those different teams, your local game shop has those teams for Blood Bowl, and you can purchase them and paint and play whatever team your heart desires. And I'm hoping to get more folks together for some tournaments here at the house. I currently have 3 copies here. So we can do 6 players, round robin, in one evening. So in 3 hours, we can all get 3 games in, round robin, little tournaments, actual tournaments, and get tournament points and pick winners and show winners, first, second, and third, and kind of have that kind of fun. Get back to what I'm missing, Rob, which is the game shop tournaments, man. Those are with the whole coof that we've been dealing with. You don't get to go to the shop on Saturdays, pay your $5 and bring your team and have a tournament for the whole day. That's gone. I want to feel that. I want to feel some tournaments again.
Yeah, I'm for that.
So, folks, that's Blitz Bowl by Games Workshop, sold at Barnes & Noble. And on that note, that brings us to the end of this episode. Yeah.
So sad.
Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm hoping for more. Now, I want to get this one on video, some games of Blitz Bowl on video to show the folks what that's like. So today was your learning day, training day. I'm your Denzel Washington.
That's right.
And it's your training day. King Kong. So thank you for listening today to the Beans and Dice podcast. Check out our YouTube channel. Robert and I have some awesome videos on there, different games that we've played, reviews of some games. Robert's going through a series of Orleans. For those of you that like the more Euro game stuff, Robert takes care of that. William and I are running through a lot of the war game stuff right now. Watch some of that. Sekigahara, Samurai Battles. We're going to be doing some Commands and Colors. So videos of games and types of games for all people is what we want to do. My name's Carlos.
I'm Mike.
It's Rob.
And at this point, we say goodnight. We're the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game. Good night, folks.
Keep gaming.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.